So one of the biggest complaints or confusions that we get about Help This Book is the fact that beta readers' comments are visible to other readers. Readers can see what other people said. Authors are worried that this introduces bias, which I totally understand and respect. However, there's a hidden trade-off, and the benefits you get are very large. You get big benefits. So I wanted to just explain that trade-off so you can see both sides. So if you send people a blank document where they can't see any other comments, they aren't sure what they're supposed to be doing in most cases. So people will tend to default to what they consider safe feedback, which is similar to proofreading. Hey, it's a typo, or like, hey, I love this story. It's like compliments, opinions, and grammar, proofreading stuff. And that's not what you want during beta reading. You want big picture stuff. You get a lot more of that when they can see each other's comments. One, because it makes them feel safe. They're like, oh, other people are saying this thing is confusing, so I can say it's confusing also. That's like the appropriate culture of this interaction. It makes a surprisingly big difference. And then the other thing is that they'll often take the other side of an argument. So if they see that someone really loved a long heartfelt anecdote, they might be like, actually for me this was kind of slow and I wanted to skip around. And you go, oh wow, as an author that's really useful. And then that might inform choices like making it a typographically distinct section where you change the typography and make it a call out box. It's like story time, so that people who want to can skip it because you go, oh, there's like these two different reader behaviors. And those are comments, like types of reactions that you don't get normally. But if they see that someone else hated it, they're like, no, I really love this bit. So that works both directions. The other thing is that you're not like blindly following the data. So a sort of like pure numerical statistical significance doesn't really make sense. So I can tell from the overall shape here that the first chapter is getting way more comments. Even if I adjust for word count, it's still getting twice as many comments per word. Which means usually that people are dropping off after the first chapter. So, there's some work to do. Either the first chapter exhausted them or the second chapter has the wrong promise and they're abandoning immediately. So I can use the shape of the data, certainly to guide my decisions, but I'm not going to like blindly follow it, right? So I don't care if some of these hearts are pylons. Oh, someone else said they loved it. I guess I'll say I loved it too. That doesn't bother me because I always go through them. It's like you're not a slave to your data. You can still make your own decisions as an author. And so I haven't found like the negative impact of like piling on or this sort of bias to be real. And the benefits of getting more comments, deeper comments, bigger picture comments, and arguing both sides of the issue is, for me, way more valuable. And this is why we've chosen not to allow you to disable this feature. Now, we do want to simplify the visual noise because this one has a few hundred in the first chapter and like everything's highlighted, so it gets very visually noisy. But like the basic idea of letting people see each other's comments is like a 1,000% improvement. It's pretty startling. It's something that we'll like kind of insist on as an opinionated best practice, unless you were writing a book about a very sensitive topic, trauma, abuse, whatever, something like that, where it's like you needed to respect people's privacy and give them a safe space. If you have a use case like that, do tell us because it's something that we might add. But it's like we'd probably make it a little bit. We'd probably discourage you from doing it for most books because it's not as good as it sounds.